We're definitely at that point in the offseason where there's not a whole lot going on at all, not much to talk about, so I think it's now time I start making videos, projecting things for next season, making predictions for next season, and this is a video that I've made pretty much every offseason since I've had this channel, so for 4 or 5 years now, and that is projecting breakout players for the upcoming season, guys that I think are going to take a big leap in 2023. I just recently went back and watched the video I made like this last offseason, and I definitely didn't do so hot. The only player in that video that actually broke out was Michael Bunting, and I don't even know if that really counts because that was a no-brainer. I'm going to go over 7 players in this video that I think will break out in 2023, but if there's anybody that I don't mention that you feel like is going to have a breakout season, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. Let's get things going with the first player, Filip Kurashev of the Chicago Blackhawks. This one for me, I think is going to be purely based on opportunity. Throughout his first couple NHL seasons with the Blackhawks so far, Kurashev has definitely shown some skill, or at least flashes of it. He scored some really nice goals, but the ice time really just hasn't been there. He played actually just under 13 minutes on average per game this past season, and of the 6 goals he scored this past season, only 2 of them actually came at even strength. The other 4 were on the power play, but if you look at where Chicago is at as a team right now, you look at their projected lineups for this upcoming season, you have to imagine Filip Kurashev's ice time is going to increase dramatically, I would say by at least 3 or 4 minutes, especially when you look at the Blackhawks' depth in terms of left wingers. There's a very good chance Filip Kurashev sees a lot of time on the first or second line, potentially even plays a good chunk of the season with Patrick Kane. Would definitely not be surprised at all to see Filip Kurashev set a new career high in points by more than double his previous career high, be in that 45 to 50 point range. This next player is definitely the most proven player on this list already at this point in his career, and that is Alex Tuch of the Buffalo Sabres. He's already had a 20 goal, 52 point season. However, I do think there's another level there that Alex Tuch can get to, especially now that he's in a situation where he's one of the faces of the Buffalo Sabres franchise. He's not playing in Vegas anymore on their third line. I think in the 50 games he played with the Buffalo Sabres this past season after the trade, he showed that he's ready and he's able to thrive in a role where he's a top line forward, where he plays north of 18 minutes a night, where he's put in all of the premier positions to put up big numbers. Like I said, I think there's another gear that Alex Tuch can get to. I really believe that this guy can be one of the premier power forwards in the NHL, be a perennial 30 plus goal scorer. As far as point totals go, I wouldn't be surprised to see him around the 65 to 70 point mark this upcoming season. Now, I don't really like to include second year players in these kinds of videos because they're expected to take another leap in their sophomore season. They're expected to get better, but this is one I feel really confident in, so I'm putting him in here anyways. That is Alex Newhook of the Colorado Avalanche. Now, obviously, the Colorado Avalanche took a little bit of a hit this offseason in free agency with the likes of Nazem Kadri leaving, or I guess he hasn't left yet technically because he's still a UFA, but Andrei Burakovsky signed in Seattle, leaving a couple of holes in the top 6, and one player that I fully expect to fill one of those holes and do it well is Alex Newhook. I think he has the perfect kind of game and skill set to complement Colorado's other top forwards. He's incredibly fast when he's at his top speed. He's obviously incredibly skilled, was still able to put up 13 goals and 33 points this past season despite playing just about 13 and a half minutes on average per game. I really feel like Newhook is going to get a big opportunity this upcoming season, and he's going to take it and run with it. I think between 50 to 60 points is easily achievable for him. The next player that I want to talk about is Mathieu Joseph of the Ottawa Senators. Obviously came over to Ottawa at the trade deadline this past season as part of the Nick Paul trade. After the deal, Mathieu Joseph was immediately given a much bigger role. He went from playing about 13 and a half minutes a game on average with the Lightning to close to 17 minutes a night with the Ottawa Senators. He took that opportunity and ran with it, put up 12 points in the 11 games he played for the Sens after the deadline, earned himself a nice contract extension. Now, do I think Mathieu Joseph is going to be a point-a-game player with the Senators this upcoming season? I definitely don't. He doesn't even project to be in their top 6. However, I still definitely love the idea of a third line involving Joseph, Pinto, and Formanton. Very fast, very young, very skilled. I think those 3 can do a lot of damage together. I feel like 45 to 50 points for Mathieu Joseph is definitely achievable. Moving along now to the next player, we have Filip Chytil of the New York Rangers, a guy who's been pretty consistent throughout his 4 seasons in the NHL. His point total year by year, 23, 23, 22, and 22. Still only 22 years old. I don't expect him to be just a 20-point guy throughout his entire career. I think a breakout season is coming, and the reason I feel like that is going to be this upcoming season is because of what he showed in the playoffs with the Rangers in their run to the conference finals. He finished 3rd on the Rangers in goals in the postseason with 7, only behind Zibanejad and Kreider, who obviously you would expect to have more goals than Filip Chytil, but again, he just really impressed me in that playoff run, had some big moments. I really liked the look of that third line when he was playing with Kakko and Lafreniere until obviously it got broken up and then Dragolant decided to scratch Capo Kakko. I'm not saying Filip Chytil is going to break out and be like a 60-70 point guy this upcoming season. My expectation is that he doubles his point total from this past season and becomes, around or a little bit above a half a point per game player, and I think Rangers fans would definitely be happy with that. Moving along now, next up on the list, we have Owen Tippett of the Philadelphia Flyers. Was sent to Philadelphia at the most recent trade deadline as part of the return for Claude Giroux. I've always been a pretty big believer in Owen Tippett. This is a guy who hasn't really been able to stick consistently at the NHL level just yet, splitting seasons between the NHL and the AHL, being a healthy scratch. But this is a player who, in both of his big stints in the American Hockey League, he hasn't just put up solid numbers, he has dominated. He had 18 points in 12 games for Charlotte this past season. And after the Claude Giroux trade, Owen Tippett got his first real consistent opportunity at the NHL level. He played 21 games for the Flyers after the trade, was playing about 15 minutes a night, which is by far the most he's played over an extended stretch of games. Owen Tippett is a guy with a real heavy shot. He was labeled as a sniper coming out of the 2017 draft. I really feel like there's a 20 goal scorer there in Owen Tippett. Is that going to happen this season? Maybe not. I feel like maybe we could see more of a gradual improvement here, and this season, if he does stick with the Flyers for the whole year, scores, between 15 and 20 goals, somewhere in that range, is a 40-45 point player. I feel like the really big thing here is he just stays in the lineup, isn't sent down to the AHL, isn't a healthy scratch on a consistent basis, and stays healthy. And if that happens, I really believe we're going to see Owen Tippett have the best season of his career by far. And now for the final player we're going to talk about in today's video, we got Oliver Wahlstrom of the New York Islanders, who at this point in his life may be better known for scoring the Michigan or lacrosse goal, whatever you want to call it, when he was 8 years old, as opposed to anything he's done in the NHL just yet. Just 25 goals so far through his first 126 career games, but like most of the other players on this list, he hasn't really gotten a consistent opportunity to play in the New York Islanders top 6. Throughout his first couple seasons, he hasn't even averaged more than 12.5 minutes of ice time per game just yet. With this now being his third season, you have to imagine the New York Islanders are going to try to utilize him a little bit more. I would like to see him get an opportunity to play in the top 6 over somebody like Bailey or Kyle Palmieri. The Rangers are a pretty old team compared to the rest of the league. I definitely feel like if given the opportunity, we could see Wahlstrom's 13 goal total from this past season go up to about 20 or maybe even 25. This is a guy who obviously has a ton of skill. He was an 11th overall pick for a reason. I really feel like it's only a matter of time until he has a big breakthrough season, so I'm predicting that to be this upcoming season. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Those were 7 NHL players that I feel like will have breakout seasons in 2022-23. In most of these cases, I'm not saying these guys are going to be stars or superstars or anything like that, but breakout relative to what they've done so far in their careers. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if there's anybody that you can think of that you feel like will have a breakout season that I didn't cover today, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. I'm always interested to hear your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more like this throughout the offseason, be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys all soon.